La Commission de la santé mentale du Canada a financé 14 projets de recherche communautaire qui permettront de mieux comprendre la relation entre l'usage du cannabis et la santé mentale au sein des populations prioritaires. Chaque projet de recherche novateur a été conçu pour réellement mobiliser les personnes directement concernées par les questions explorées, c'est-à-dire les personnes ayant un savoir expérientiel passé et présent. La pandémie de COVID-19 a provoqué de graves perturbations sociales dans le monde entier, y compris dans les communautés où se déroulait la recherche. Les répercussions ont été considérables et, dans de nombreux cas, il a fallu complètement repenser les plans de recherche. Voici comment certaines communautés se sont adaptées à la nouvelle réalité. Dr. Rob Whitley.
So for this project, we applied for the funding from the Mental Health Commission of Canada in April 2020. And at that time, the horizon in front of us was bright and the sun was there and we were hopeful about the future. And then obviously this thing that many people thought would last a few weeks or a few months lasted 2 years, called COVID-19. Because of COVID, we had issues in terms of the public health regulations here in Quebec. We were not allowed to meet in person. The hospital that we're sitting in now was more or less closed down except for essential practice from the medical clinicians. So we had to think very quickly and basically pivot to an online project.
Megan Costa.
I think it's difficult to engage with participants in any sort of research, but especially with COVID. I know it's very repetitive and anyone will tell you COVID is it's a challenge in research, especially because we couldn't be there in person. And so I would say normally before the pandemic, as researchers, we would go in person, and that way we could actually do a face-to-face interview. There was so many things we had to think about by doing interviews virtually as well. So for example, when you're meeting someone virtually, having their contact information, a lot of the time what we do is we don't know their names, we use client IDs. And the client IDs will protect their anonymity, confidentiality, but then we're doing these virtual interviews and I'm having to contact them. I know their name, I know information about them. Luckily it stays to the research team, it stayed to just myself and one other. But yeah, another thing is the video. Individuals don't want to be recorded, especially on video, when they're sharing and disclosing personal information.
Dr. Olivier Ferlat.
I think, the pandemic has really kind of changed the way we thought about research. Before we thought we really needed to be in person to do interviews. It was a barrier for some people to kind of participate in the study. But also I think there was great opportunity for us to really mobilize, technology. So we're able to reach, people and they can do the interview in the comfort of their house and then they don't have to travel, so.
Erika Lemont.
For the actual research itself, it didn't have a huge impact because the peers were already going out on outreach and a lot of their stuff was outside. So a lot of the surveys were administered outside. The only thing that really started to impact was more maybe the interviews and journey mapping because there were some community organizations who were a little bit more hesitant about letting outside researchers in because of COVID protocols.
Terry Gillis.
Again, we had to sort of flip the format of everything because originally we wanted to incorporate gatherings, which is a very important part of the Métis community, is to do in-person gatherings where where everybody gets together over a meal and shares with the community. And that was originally the idea, was every dialogue session of those 5 dialogue sessions that would happen from January to May. In the original plan, they would have happened in a different city. But because of COVID, it was all spent on Zoom.
One of the advantages of COVID is that we went to a 100% online project, which meant that we were able to interview people across Canada, which in fact we did. We interviewed people in Newfoundland, we interviewed people in BC, and everywhere in between, which actually opened up very interesting conversations and opened up doors that we would not have walked through if COVID would not have happened.
Merci aux équipes de projet qui ont mené leur recherche communautaire pendant la pandémie et qui ont fait preuve de créativité, de compassion et d'ingéniosité pour atteindre leurs objectifs. Pour de plus amples renseignements sur ces projets de recherche, veuillez consulter le site suivant: La Commission de la santé mentale du Canada. commissionsantémentale.ca. Les points de vue exprimés dans le présent document représentent uniquement ceux de l'équipe de recherche. La production du présent document a été rendue possible grâce aux travaux de recherche sur le cannabis et la santé mentale de la CSMC et à la contribution financière de Santé Canada.